everybody, it's Craig at the Dog Therapist. Let's keep this video super simple because dog training needs to be super simple. Now, if you're struggling with your dog, I'm guessing one of the big reasons is that you're not understanding how your dog's brain actually works. Now, there's one thing that I say before every single one-to-one session that I do, every single dog class or workshop that I do, and I say this: every single dog learns the same. It doesn't matter if you've got a huge dog like a Great Dane or you've got a tiny little dog like a Chihuahua. Every single dog learns by this process. When they do something good, you praise them or treat them. When they do something bad, then you discipline them and you use the lead as a correction tool so you can communicate with the dog so it understands. So in other words, there's a cause and effect. So when they do something good, then they have a treat, they have a little fuss. When they do something bad and they misbehave, then there's some discipline. So a dog very quickly understands. Now, it doesn't matter what dog you've got, every single dog learns exactly the same way. Now, there's a but to this rule, and it's a bit of a big but. I like big buts, and I cannot lie, right? So this is your but. Just like every person has their own different personality, so do dogs. So what you've got to do is you've got to tailor your training to the type of personality that your dog has. So obviously, I'm sure you know, some dogs are very, very excitable when they meet other dogs or other people, and they're fizzing around. They can't keep the bum still because they're so excitable, and they're like a big bundle of fun and a big bundle of like fizz bomb. And some dogs are very shy. Some dogs are very nervous. Some dogs have loads and loads of anxiety. So what you've got to do is you've got to tailor the way that you train your dog based on the type of personality that you have. So let me keep it super, super simple. All we need to do is we need to reward or praise the behaviors that we want to see more of, and we have to discipline or correct the behaviors that we don't want to see more of. It's that easy. Now, if you don't correct a bad behavior, let's say something like zoomies. We all know what zoomies are, when the dog whizzes around 100 miles an hour around your garden. Now, if you don't correct something as simple as zoomies, your dog inside their brain will think to themselves, well, mum and dad aren't correcting me, they're not telling me off, they're not disciplining me, so it must be okay to do. And then a few weeks down the line, your dog does this every single day, you get fed up of it because it's making a mess of your garden, you can't get your dog to come back, and you wonder why your dog's got a problem. So every time that your dog misbehaves, you must correct the bad behavior. Now, one thing we can't do with the dog is we can't talk logically to a dog. Obviously, we can't say, look, this behavioural path that you're doing at the moment, this zoomies or this pulling on the lead or whatever it is, it's really pissing me off. And what I need you to do is, I need you to stop it, because dogs aren't going to understand that. So what dogs do is, dogs see things in the now. They're very, very present. They see things in the present. So what I mean by that is let's say you sat your dog down for a few minutes and it did really, really well. It sat there so long. You're like, oh, I've got to now go over and praise my dog and let them know how well they've done. If you go over to your dog and you praise your dog and your dog jumps up you, and you then go, oh, what a good boy, what a good girl for sitting still, your dog won't understand that it's being praised for sitting still for all that time. Your dog will only understand what's happening in that moment. So when your dog's jumping up you, your dog then will think it's being praised for jumping up you. So when it meets other people, guess what it's going to want to do? It's going to want to jump up. So this is the way that dogs think. And you've got to understand how their brains work, then you can start to train your dog. So the $1 million question then is, how do we communicate with the dog so we can correct a dog easily and correctly without it being a big pain and without it being like something that's like a big chore? Well, I use one of these. This is a slip lead. I can't tell you how easy it is to correct a dog with a slip lead. I use this in every single one-to-one, every single dog class, every single workshop that I run, and it is the only way to communicate with your dog. When you use this correctly and fit it correctly on your dog, I promise you, you will get massive results instantly, very, very quickly, because it communicates in a way where your dog understands it, and it then realizes that there's a consequence for its bad behavior. So whatever it is, guys, that you're trying to teach your dog, you've got to have the right equipment. You can find these on the dogtherapist.co.uk. There's all different ones for different sized dogs, from small dogs to medium dogs and large dogs. Now, when you're training your dog a simple command, you have to keep it very, very short and sweet. And in other words, it's got to be, the best way to describe it is, it's clear, precise commands. That's how dogs learn. You don't want to say, just let's say you're trying to get your dog to sit down. You don't want to say, sit, Rufus, Rufus, sit, Rufus, Rufus, sit, Rufus, Rufus, sit, Rufus, sit, Rufus, sit. Because guess what? Your dog hears it the very, very first time, but it's choosing to ignore you if it knows the command sit. I mean, if you get a treat in your hand and tell it to sit, it'll sit its bum down straight away. So it's choosing to ignore you. So it's a bit like someone saying to you the same thing over and over and over and over again. You're like, honestly, I heard you the first time, shut up, you're doing me head in. And same thing for a dog. If a dog doesn't sit down, when you tell it to sit down on the first time, then you make it sit down. And again, you use the lead. And it's a simple case. You pop the lead on like so. Imagine this is the dog. You do this, and you go pop with the lead, really simple like that, and the bum sits down. So it's tell the dog something very simple, clear, precise commands. If it doesn't do it the first time, and it knows that command, you make it do the command. When it does it, then you go from then correcting mode to praising mode. Make sense? And that's how dogs learn. So let me go over it again, really simple for you. So if the dog doesn't sit down when you tell it to sit down, we put the little slip lead on, we go sit, we make it sit down, the dog sits. As soon as it's sat down and it's doing what you want, what a good boy, what a good girl. That's how dogs learn. As always, guys, I hope this video has helped. If you need any more help or guidance or advice, just pop the little comments in and I'll do my best to get back to you. Don't forget, we help you in loads of different ways, one-to-ones, online coaching, there's residential training, there's workshops, and there's also dog classes in Newcastle-under-Lyme and Madeley, and they're only £20 a class. Just pop yourselves over to thedogtherapist.co.uk and we'll see you all on the next video. Look after yourselves and stay safe.